Hello, it's Tracy Dix from Wyrd Learning, and welcome to day 28 of my conversion card challenge, adapting James Wedmore's powerful language patterns to see how well they relate to academic writing. So today I've got making testimonials relevant. Great testimonials tell a story. A great story makes it easy for your reader to get lost in it. They begin to see themselves as the protagonist. Well, instead of relying on the story, why not relate the testimonial back to your reader? Here are some examples of how I do that. Formula: what if this were your story too? Or can you imagine what it would be like if blank? Examples in action: and where would your life be if this were your story too? Or B, you're probably already wondering what they have that you don't. Or C, so we mapped out a plan and she went to work. When it was all said and done, she came up short at about $150,000 and she was pretty bummed. Can you imagine what it would be like when you're in a position when you're bummed from a 150 grand launch too? So I've said this many times now through this challenge, so you'll already know that writing the first person is not really something that's encouraged in academic writing, and manipulating your reader in that kind of way, because academic writing is supposed to be evidence-based. So any sort of attempt to emotionally manipulate your reader wouldn't be considered acceptable. However, I have discussed this on previous days as well. You could project some of the language patterns here to what the research field could look like. So what could be possible in the future in particular sectors if certain explorations in terms of knowledge and discovery were undertaken. So in a previous episode, I talked about the intersectionality, for example, between sickle cell disease and antenatal care, because I was talking to a student and that was their research area. And one of the things she said was that there's not very much known in terms of how pregnant women and sickle cell disease interacts, and there aren't very robust protocols for how to care for these women in labor. So particularly, in your conclusion, if you're kind of projecting to the future of how the research field could improve, you could encourage this intersectionality, but you wouldn't be kind of talking about it in terms of a story. It would be more along the lines of, for example, greater intersectionality in sickle cell disease and antenatal care in research would greatly enhance this area and improve protocols for particular groups of people. So it would be something along those lines. That was just a bit of a quick example. So I just wanted to draw your attention to that, and that's one way, I've mentioned before that you can use your conclusion to great effect and go further than just kind of summarizing what was already in your argument. So instead, think about where could, if you had the means to develop your argument beyond the scope of your 2,000 words or 4,000 word assignment, where would you take your research? And what kind of improvements would that mean for the sector? So that's all I have for today. Thank you, and do join me again tomorrow for day 29.